The kickoff of the Saudi-backed LIV Golf Tour led to a serious controversy involving the PGA Tour, as well as many who are displeased with the Saudi government's disregard for the basic human rights of its nationals. The tour, financially backed by Saudi Arabia, is seen as a well-calculated plan to increase its power globally and spread its tentacles beyond its region. Fronted by Greg Norman as CEO, the fledgling LIV series aims to challenge the PGA Tour and has lured top pro golfers with juicy promises like hefty signing bonuses, fewer events, and prize purses. In this video, we'll dive into what is happening in the world of golf and how the controversy affects tour players. Why are the tour players furious? Stay tuned. You cannot have missed the ugly legal fight between the LIV Golf and the PGA Tour, and now it's getting out of hand. Like the rest of us, the guys at the center of the LIV Golf PGA Tour controversy are tired of hearing about it. That does not imply that they don't think about it frequently. The number 54 player in the world ranking, Keith Mitchell, claims, "I wake up thinking about it. I go to bed thinking about it. Honestly, that's all I think about." For the conflict that has shattered the top level of the man's game, the 30-year-old golfer Mitchell is solidly in the PGA Tour's camp. Before competing in the Open Championship at St. Andrews, he was in Scotland for the Genesis Scottish Open. Portland, Oregon hosted the second tournament of LIV Golf's inaugural season, and Brandon Grace took home the individual title with the $4 million top prize. Brandon is one of the LIV golfers who obtained a stay in a British court, and as a result, he competed at the Scottish Open at Renaissance Golf Club despite exclusions from the PGA and DP World Tour. Brandon's victory drew criticism due to the upstart series funding by the Saudi government. Billy Horschel came out strongly against LIV players who switched to playing fewer events and spending more time with their families, but are now attempting to use their old tours to play wherever they like. According to me, they made their bed. They decided to go on tour, and they ought to go on that tour. They shouldn't return to play on the DP World Tour or the PGA Tour. To claim that they wanted to continue playing the LIV Tour while still supporting this tour, the DP or the PGA Tour, is, in my opinion, utterly absurd. Because of this, it is bad that such guys desire to make their bed. "Please just leave us alone," he said. "I am one of the PGA Tour's 200-plus members at the same moment. The PGA Tour is me. Therefore, when you criticize the PGA Tour, you are criticizing us." Horschel went on to express his frustration about players who cover the truth while being hypocritical. "I've been frustrated because hypocrites seem to lie about some things and still expect diplomacy. I don't fault anyone for playing for the LIV Tour." Mitchell had a similar opinion, stating that while top players initially appeared to be united in their openness and desire to see how LIV Golf would develop, there is now a more pronounced division among them. The likelihood of legal action plays a role in some of that, but there's also the knowledge that LIV's 14 events calendar in 2023 and beyond would harm PGA Tour prize money. Mitchell claims that these men going over are depleting golf's financial resources. If they have 14 events, they will compete against the 14 weakest PGA Tour fields. If the PGA Tour is going to have rubbish fields, why would sponsors keep giving them all this money? I believe it might damage sponsors and the game's total revenue. Spending more money on fewer players, more people are taking sides as this goes on longer. Before anything happened, there was only general discussion. What format is it in? Who will travel? In all honesty, it was just a rumor that guys were into. It aroused their interest, and as it becomes more evident, more men are taking sides, he said. "The worst part about it is that I got a phone call from one of my greatest sponsors telling me he heard I won $61 million. When I inquired about his source, I discovered that it was quite reliable. These are all total fabrications, according to reliable sources. A precise number and the years. I haven't even spoken to the guys." Mitchell concurs with Horschel in feeling frustrated by some former PGA Tour players. Pat Perez claimed in Portland that he doesn't pay attention to the players. He also believes the PGA Tour should be blamed for losing players to its rival, LIV Golf. Monahan didn't want to listen. He just shut it out from the beginning and refused to take a meeting. Somehow the PGA Tour keeps mentioning that we work for you, the players, and the players alone. The opposite is true. We appear to be employed by them. We have no control over anything, he continued. Speaking together at the Canadian Open on the US PGA Tour was number 1 Scottie Scheffler. McIlroy remarked, "It's a shame that it's going to break up the game. Watching the pros play is like shopping for golf. It just gets so complicated if the general audience is unaware of who is competing, where the tournaments are taking place this week, and yeah, he plays there, but he isn't invited to these events. Everything needs to work on being more unified, and I think it was headed in a positive direction before this happened. With a combined $255 million in prize money for its 8 events, the fledgling series has grown players like Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, and Sergio Garcia, Patrick Reed, and Bryson DeChambeau, who each won a U.S. major, will play in LIV Golf's inaugural tournament next month. It was announced on Wednesday. Since the tour denied PGA players' request for releases to compete in a tournament in Toronto's St. George's Golf and Country Club, the PGA has warned those players who play in England that there will be penalties. Thomas, an American who has won his second PGA championship, said, "It's a bummer. The choice is theirs, but I wished it wouldn't overshadow the fantastic plots and activities on a trip that has been going on for a very long time and is at one of the best locations it has ever been. It's disappointing that those men won't participate." The Canadian Open began with 5 of the top 10 golfers in the world after being delayed for the last 2 years due to COVID-19. Reiterated his support for the US PGA while admonishing players against making decisions only based on financial gain. "I don't want to participate," he declared. "I wouldn't change anything about my schedule, life, income, or anything else. Most decisions you make in life that are made solely for financial gain don't turn out well. Professional golf is going through a strange phase. We'll simply have to wait and see how this develops, whether any additional players opt to depart from the well-established tours, and what the results are. Rory probably has a lot more cash than he needs, but he is also a big-picture guy. If you've taken your time to listen to him when he talks, you know for sure that he's also pragmatic. Sure, he's concerned about stars jumping ship, but his worry extends just beyond his week-to-week opponents. He's also thinking about the fans." 6th-ranked golfer Thomas expressed his disappointment with the athletes who chose the new circuits. "I no longer despise DJ. He doesn't seem like an awful guy to me. I won't behave any differently towards him. He is free to make any decision he wants," John said. "He is not a bad person as a result. I regret it now and wish he and others hadn't done it, but it was their choice." Since the U.S. Golf Association announced on Tuesday that all LIV golf players who qualified for the Open could play a schedule, McIlroy wasn't angry at the competitors who would face him in the U.S. Open the following week. "I can relate to the men who went. I'm aware of their aims and objectives," added McIlroy. "I'm not in any way criticizing someone for going. They live it. They will decide. They are free to live it any way they like. The PGA Tour is where I want to compete against the top golfers in the world, though." Canadian Mackenzie Hughes objected to LIV's golf scheduling in front of the Toronto competition. "It's shameful. It stinks. Although it wasn't going to be the best of times, as a Canadian, I'll be dishonest if I say it's good timing. It isn't very pleasant. However, we really can't do much. All we have to do right now is to focus on what's happening here and make it remarkable," he said. "I believe the majority of eyes will remain present. The very best area of this field is fantastic." Monahan, on the other hand, didn't mince words. "We welcome healthy competition, but unfortunately, the LIV is just not one. They are less concerned with the genuine growth of the game and return on investment." Less than a year after going 5-0 whistling straights to help his country defeat Europe in the Ryder Cup, Dustin Johnson announced that he resigned from the PGA Tour, making him ineligible to compete in the Ryder and President's Cup. DJ reiterated that he decided to do what was best for his family because it is unknown how they would have survived on the $74 million he has earned in his PGA Tour career only from playing golf. He must have earned a sizable sum of money from the numerous advertisements he produced for the bank he worked for many years and a private jet firm. However, his family should now be financially secure. The terrible human rights atrocities carried out by the Saudi regime don't appear to concern any of the participants. Well, I wouldn't blame them anyway. With such a huge paycheck, bonuses, and few playtimes, would you act any differently? So what are your thoughts on the future of LIV? Let us know in the comments below.